All right, so this is my second video in a series of videos I want to make about this sort of hitting the wall content, where the hitting the wall discourse or content is basically this like red pill MRA discourse about older women who had a lot of options when they were younger, who I guess were maybe running amok, I don't know, with thinking they have all the time in the world, and then they get to a certain age and they no longer have the options that they had. So I am, unfortunately, I am one of these poor unfortunate souls. So I do want to respond to some of the things that I've been seeing in this content. So yesterday I talked about how a lot of it sort of comes across as a revenge fantasy for guys who were maybe turned down when they were younger. They get to see, I guess, women that turn them down struggle with, rejection themselves, and how that can be maybe very satisfying. Today I want to talk about another sort of talking point that I hear a lot in this content. And that's this idea that we get stuck on our highest setting and we're chasing Chad. Chad, for those of you who don't know, is like, I don't know, like the cool guy, the alpha, I don't know, he's got a lot of money, he looks really good, all the women want him, I guess, right? I don't know if he's real, but I guess Chad looks like Brad Pitt, I don't know. Chad's the guy that all the girls want. And I'm laughing because it's like, obviously, like, different people are gonna like different things, right? So that's kind of like what I want to talk about today. So I think this idea, this sort of, when I hear people talk about like getting stuck on their highest setting, they tend to talk about, I guess, social media culture. So I guess apparently you can be a regular girl, like 21-year-old girl on Instagram, and NFL players or NBA players are gonna fly you out and you can like hang out with them. And I guess the idea, or when people talk about highest setting, they say like, oh, women can hang out with these high value men for a day, but can't secure them for a lifetime. And I just have to say, like, look, like, and I realize there might be, there are counterpoints here, but that is certainly not my problem. I know that when I was younger, if I was ever approached by somebody like out of my league, and when I say out of my league, I mean like just somebody outside of my social circle. So like if we don't have any friends in common, if we don't have like any, I don't know, like hobbies or professional stuff in common, then arguably we're not in the same league. Like it also, like, league, I guess, can be determined by I guess physical attractiveness too. I guess that's a huge factor. Depends who you ask, maybe it's the only factor. And in that case, then obviously you're not going to know everyone who's like as attractive as you are. But in any case, if like someone super important was hitting on me, like famous, I just didn't take it seriously ever, really, as far as I remember. Anyway, I've only had like 2 very serious relationships. And when I say very serious, I mean like we lived together for years. And when I think about those 2 people, I don't even know if they're in the same league. Like I think they probably aren't in the same league, but for a variety of reasons. Maybe they are, but assume that they are. Like there hasn't been anybody that I've been interested in since my last relationship that I think is substantially different from those 2 people. So if we think that, so I'm just saying all that because I don't think it's a league issue. What I think it is, I think I wrote it down. Yeah, wait, hold on, where is it? Yeah, so I don't think the problem is that like we're chasing Chad and stuck on our highest setting. I think the problem is that like those of us who are generally relationship people, but we find ourselves at this age like not being in one, we're pretty hurt. Both genders, men and women. And I know it's heteronormative. Yes, sorry, I don't. So, yeah, I think it's more just that if we're in the same league and we didn't manage to like settle down, well, then there's something wrong with our league. Maybe not on the outside, right? Maybe, we are successful. Maybe we look good. I'm talking about like myself and the people that I like. But why doesn't it work? Well, I think there might be something going on in our league, right? On the inside, that's the problem, And it's not just us, it's all of us. We all have some problem, right, that we need to address. Add to that, we kind of approach each other with our swords out, right? So like, how can we expect anything to get off the ground if that's how we're approaching each other? But also, how can we expect to approach each other in any other way, because we have all hurt each other and been hurt by each other? So it makes sense that we are not approaching each other, with like the purity and innocence that, we did once upon a time, long, long ago. So you could say, like the counter argument to this is that like, no, like the people that I lived with so I had 2 of these relationships, and they were back to back. I think it was like a 4 months break between the 2 of them. So like between like 28 and 38 were these relationships. And you could say, oh no, like once I was 38 and single, I no longer qualified for like that league, you could say that. But if that were really true, right, then nobody would grow old with each other, right? Like every man, like as he gets older and like more successful or whatever, every man would trade in his partner, wife, whatever, for the younger version. And that doesn't actually happen. That doesn't happen all the time. Like it doesn't happen at least half of the time, right? So I don't think that's it. I think that we are dating in our league. It's just that our league is like we've kind of shredded each other a little bit, So I think that's what's going on. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm delusional, maybe I'm shooting outside my league, but I really don't think so. I just think that our league, I think we have hurt each other, and all of us, we need to reckon with that. We need to understand like why we hurt each other, and we need to find a way to heal from the way that other people have hurt us. That is my take on getting stuck on our highest setting. I don't think that we do get stuck on our highest setting. I think we stay in our league, but if we can't make it work within our league at a certain age, it's because there's something wrong with our league. It doesn't mean we're dating out of our league. It means we're actually dating in our league, we're dating people who are like roughly as cute and successful as us, and roughly as, emotionally stable. And those of us who are single, I think our league might need some extra tender loving care, So that's that. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about something kind of similar. I'm going to talk about standards, but I think it's a little bit different. But I think, probably touch on similar talking points. But yeah, that's that. All right. Thank you.